And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming up back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts, plus also as well Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Joe Soro will not be here tonight for the nightcap or the post game. He apologizes for that, but please, he's doing Simblades business. Simblades with the Y.com. But he promised tomorrow, since he will not be doing the post game or the nightcap tonight, he will be on for an extra special long 2-hour Lakers nightcap tomorrow. So go ahead and check out that after the Washington game and our coverage right here at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Plus also as well, Lakers in 5, Empire Jeff TV, John Costas, Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. Also as well, of course, Lakerholics crew of Jamie Sweet, who we proved wrong. Admiral Akbar did not set out the trap tonight. The Lakers did win and did win convincingly. Go ahead and check him out along with Laker Tom at Lakerholics.com. Lakers in 5, Empire Jeff TV. Of course, also as well, John McCallion and John Costas, Lakers Corner Clutch Talk. And also Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo, please support all these great channels today. Plus also, when you're supporting great channels, we just reached 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. Our next goal is 2,000, and you can make it happen. And you can make it happen for us by subscribing today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Gary A says, how'd it go, fellas? Went actually very well. Because the Lakers headed to the Great White North today to face off against the Toronto Raptors. And for once, we did not have to play in Toronto on a Saturday afternoon game right around noon Pacific time, which is usually a death knell for the Lakers. They played a Tuesday night game, and it suited the Lakers just fine. The first game of a back-to-back, and they really, in that third quarter, started a run after playing with their food a little bit for a little while. They were just going ahead, they set out to an early lead, but first and second quarter, first half, they kind of kept the Raptors in the game, which, based off of just lackadaisical play, a little bit of issues on defense, offensively, just not connecting, gelling. But in the third quarter, they went on a 13-0 run to separate themselves and went on another big run early in the fourth quarter, and they were up by as many as 33, the way it should be over a team that's lost now 14 in a row. That's the way you get it done. LeBron and AD got to sit down most of the fourth quarter. In fact, AD, I believe, did sit down the entire fourth quarter, and LeBron most of it, as the Lakers. Again, a lot of garbage time involved in this game, so the final score does not fully reflect how big of a lead the Lakers had, as the Lakers do get the rout on the Toronto Raptors, the hapless Toronto Raptors, 128-111. And here today to go ahead and talk about today's game. Good man indeed. You got to go ahead and catch him anytime he's here or on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. It is Stone Hansen. And Stone, great to have you here. John, aka Aussie, says, I may be the odd one out, but Lakers are showing a much more sustainable and consistent level of basketball. Not enough to contend, but we can make good teams uncomfortable. After tonight's victory, which is a victory they should have had, they did have, and did take place, as like we were hoping, is Aussie's words very prophetic that this team is not enough to contend, but they can make teams uncomfortable?
I don't take much out of this game. I didn't see the last game, but both last game and this game are against pretty bad teams with a lot of their best players out with injury for the season because they obviously want to lose as many games as they can to improve their draft ranking. So I don't take too much out of these games because you're winning as you should. Like if you're the Lakers, you should be winning this game by 20 plus points. I think in the end it wasn't quite 20, but like Gerald said, it was a lot of garbage time. But they've been playing lately for sure better. I think we talked about it too, me and John, with Joe, when he was saying that they're playing better offensively, and I agree that they're executing offensively more. They're making more shots, but I don't think their style of offense has changed all that much. I think it's still a lot of pass till you find the open man, and there's not a lot of set plays or sets being involved in these offensive schemes. So I think it's a lot of they're just making more shots, but I don't think it's necessarily better offense all around. And I think our defense actually has looked pretty poor. Even tonight, I thought the defense could have been much better than it was. Thankfully, the Raptors are bad enough to where it doesn't really matter, and they can't execute on wide open shots. And the Lakers offense just started really humming with them making all their shots. But um, I think they're playing better because they're making more shots. But I don't think it's as a direct result of um, changing anything. I don't think they've really changed anything other than they're making more shots.
Today was an issue of talent. Today was a case where Toronto just does not have the talent. They're tearing things down, whether it's through injury or whatever. They just did not look like a team that can play NBA basketball. A lot of players out there, I'm not sure they're fringe level NBA players, but we saw today, Stone, that talent in this case overcomes any lackadaisical play. Because at the time, the first half, the Lakers were playing with their food. They were keeping the Toronto Raptors within the ball game. And it wasn't until they decided about halfway through the third quarter, hey, we're much better than this team, and finally started to show it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they pretty much just coasted this whole. Even when they got hot, it felt like they were just coasting. They knew they were better, as they should know they were better. But I think they, like you said, they just decided to. All right, let's actually play some basketball here in the second half, and they did. And you saw as a result of that that um, they actually wanted to win this and did handedly. So uh, this was never a team that should have been close with how bad the Raptors are, and I don't think and to the Lakers' credit, they didn't let it be that. So they did what they needed to, and they got the win out of a really bad team, and that's what they needed to do if they want to keep themselves in playing contention, or not playing contention, but I guess contending to um, be a ninth seed or higher.
Lakers win once again. They do get the big victory, 128 to 111 over the Toronto Raptors. Toronto has now lost 14 in a row, but the Lakers still in ninth place right now, Stone. They are first time all season, 10 games above 500, 43 and 33. They now have a positive point differential at 0.04, which is something they've been struggling with all season. Things are looking a little bit up. I said that the Lakers had to start winning on the road for me to take them more seriously. They have now, on this with one game left, Stone, they're now 4-1 on this road trip. Are you taking anything about this as seriously at all, that the Lakers can start putting some wins together, and maybe that could bode well for the future going forward?
No, I think we've. I mean, we've seen 70 games before this of who the Lakers are. I don't need another 10 to change my mind. Um, or 15, however many it is. This is a team that is not gonna contend. And like I've said before, I don't really care if we make good teams uncomfortable. I don't care if we make it to the second round or if we lose in the play-in. To me, there's no difference between that. I don't care if we're a play-in team or if we're a Western Conference Finals team, because uh,
It's about the title.
realistically, we know neither of those result in this team hoisting a trophy at the end of the season. This is not a team that is capable of doing that, and therefore anything that isn't that, I don't really care about. So, um, and nothing they've done even beyond that has showed me anything, or maybe we have any more faith that they could even get to like a second round. Because, like I said, they're making more shots, but those shots aren't going to be as open in the play-in or the playoffs. And without a stylistic offensive change and a defensive scheme in place, um, you're gonna face the consequences of that, and you're making it tougher on yourself. So no, I don't really take anything from these games, and we've gone through these stretches in the past, maybe not quite to this degree throughout this season, but we've gone through stretches of the past where we start to think, oh yeah, maybe they're putting something together, and it has never turned out to be that way. It's the same boy crying wolf over and over again.
Gary says Stone isn't impressed, and Sean says he never is, Gary, but he seems like a nice guy otherwise.
You don't have to like my I'm too negative. I mean, maybe I'd just call in if they're playing in a way that I thought was making a difference, then I'd give them credit to that, and I'd think that maybe they can. If you genuinely believe they can go all the way, then that's great, and I'd rather be on that side of thinking where you think that we have a shot at the championship, because I'd like to believe that as well as a Laker fan, but I don't see that, and therefore, um, that's just how I'm saying it.
I just think, as we've seen with the Lakers' lack of depth after their starting lineup, I just think it's going to be rough for the team to go far in the playoffs. If somebody gets hurt or somebody gets in foul trouble, the Lakers just don't have anyone to go to coming off the bench that's consistent or reliable. Rodell says that Stone fella is way negative. I think he's just realistic. I think you're perceiving as negative. That's incorrect, Rodell. I think it's realistic. Stone has studied the NBA for years, and in doing so, he has acquired his opinions and seeing and evaluating talent like few others. So that's who he is. And you got to understand, the Lakers just right now, Stone, are just a starting lineup, and they don't have much in the way of as we've seen, 2 points the other night coming off the bench. The bench only gave you 2 points the other night. Now today, obviously, because there was a lot of garbage time involved, there's a lot more than that, but the bench inspires no one with the inconsistency that they have. And they just is so reliant on those top 5 players.
You're reliant on top 5 players, and you're going up against teams that are missing much of their starting 5 down the stretch. Like, a lot of the teams are playing are not really in contention for anything, and they're shipping it in for the year. So, you should be winning those sort of games, and, like I
Like
said, I
tomorrow's
mean,
game against a 14-win Washington Wizards team.
exactly, and like I said, the wins are great. It's nice that they're rolling in, but when you actually watch the games, they are hitting more shots, but you have to see why are they hitting more shots. Are they hitting more shots because they're getting hot, which seems to, in my opinion, to be the case, or are they hitting more shots because stylistically they've tweaked something, they've changed something, where they're now running sets that are effective. They're running, more efficient plays to get better looks. To me, it's not a whole lot of that. It's that they're playing bad teams and they're also getting hot at the same time. It's a mix of both. And I think that both those things are contributing to these wins, which again, a win is a win. I'm not going to complain about that, but you have to look at the way they're winning games. And to me, that's how I view it.
Because again, when it comes right down to it, Stone, the Lakers are still a ninth place team in the Western Conference. I think everybody just takes a win like this and says, "Oh, everything's great and everything's rosy." I mean, a lot of our commenters say as such. I know Rodell, he sees things in a different fashion, and it's come out where we've been more right than him in regards to the evaluation on this team, because it is in essence still a ninth place team in the Western Conference. And he does feel, though, however, that the Lakers outside of Denver can compete and has a puncher's chance against everyone else. Do you feel the same way, or is there a team that you think can compete against Denver better than we can?
Oh yeah, I think the Thunder can compete better than we can against the um, Nuggets. I mean, I think the Mavs can compete better. I think the Suns can compete better. I think there's the Clippers, depending on always depending on health, which I never trust them to be healthy, can compete better. This Lakers team is not a top tier team, and if you want to win a championship, you have to be a top tier team to do it. So, uh, I'd like to say that they are. Obviously, I'm a Lakers fan, but I can't just in good faith say every single year that we have a chance at a championship because I want it. Just because I want something doesn't mean it's going to happen. And with the Lakers this year, I want them to win a championship, but realistically, they don't have it. So this is not a team built to go all the way. And even if we did go all the way, uh, we have most likely 2 play-in games, and then you're facing a lot of good teams in the West, and then you're probably facing the Celtics, who are a juggernaut. So, I mean, you can want it all you want, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. I want the Lakers to win. People seem to think I don't because I don't think that they can win it. But if you win, if you think it, then great for you. But I don't think that, and I'm not going to say that I do just because people want me to.
You call it like you see it. That's why we like you here and appreciate you here, Stone, because then everybody, when the reality happens, then everybody's, oh yeah, Stone was right. Well, Stone was right. Stone was right. Of course, Rodell with the excuses. The team is in 9th place because the month after the IST, remove that stretch. This is way better than you guys think. No, this is the team that is bereft of talent from 6 to 15. And I think you see that clearly on a night-to-night basis. I mean, right now, everyone, get this right now, how reliant the Lakers are on that starting 5 that they currently have. The Lakers, Stone, are the 4th least productive bench in the NBA. Only Boston, Phoenix, and Chicago have lesser productive benches than what the Lakers can provide coming off the bench. And that, to me, I think is a bad sign.
And someone said, we only play 8 to 9 people in the playoffs, which is correct. But look at who. So let's go through the list. You have our starting 5, obviously, and then obviously Ham's going to play Prince in the playoffs, and then probably Dinwiddie as well and Hayes because you have no other backup center. So that's 8 right there. And then you're looking at one of Christie and Vincent. And probably Vincent Ante just because he's older, and not saying that necessarily he's better than Christie, although he probably is, but Ham, I think, will view it by giving the older guys, the vets, the minutes in the playoffs. So you probably have Prince, who we all know Prince is an inconsistent shooter who's usually pretty bad defensively. Dinwiddie, same. I mean, usually a bad shooter and doesn't have a lot to offer defensively. He can be defensively when he locks in a difference maker, but it's not often. You have Jackson Hayes, who we saw tonight, just gets obliterated on defense and pick and rolls. And then you have Gabe Vincent, who's coming off of injury, who I think Gabe Vincent, when healthy, is a good player, but you can't expect a guy who's missed a full season to come back and be like a playoff contributor right away. So that's 4 guys that, to me, are not really rotation players, in my opinion. I mean, these are not guys that I would want in a playoff rotation. If I'm trying to contend, I don't want to be playing Prince 20 minutes off the bench. I don't want to be playing Hayes 10, 15 minutes off the bench. These are not guys I think that can contribute to playoff winning basketball. But nonetheless, we're going to have to play them because that's who's on our roster. So whether you agree with me or not, that's how I view it. And I think that, we'll just see how it goes. I've been wrong before. I'm not saying I'm a prophet or anything, but we'll see how it plays out.
Once again, the Lakers do win. Easy victory for the Lakers in the second half, 128 to 111. It is Stone Hansen along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. For those looking for Joe Soro, he is in the chat, but he will not be available for tonight's postgame, nor will he be available for tonight's nightcap. So no nightcap tonight, but he has promised a 2-hour extravaganza for a nightcap tomorrow night after the Washington Wizards game. Los Angeles Lakers, again, 43-33. They are 9th place in the Western Conference. Stone, with 6 games left, it's looking increasingly clear like the Lakers are going to be 9th place. That would mean they get a home game against the Golden State Warriors, most likely, then have to go on the road before they even get in the playoffs. That's a tall order, and that's a tall task. They had to do it last year, but doing it once again with this team, that in a much deeper and tougher Western Conference is a tough task.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident we're going to be ninth. I mean, I'm not going to lock it in and fully yet because there's still 6 games left and tight schedules and all that. So there's a chance we move to 8. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I'm thinking the most likely outcome is we finish ninth, um, which is unfortunate because that means two playing games, as you know, and
Well, the Lakers would have to be 3 games better than the Kings in 6 games.
that's tough to. I mean, it's like I said, it's not impossible. I'm not ruling it out completely, but it is an uphill battle for sure. And as you said too, like the Kings have the tiebreaker. So um, yeah, I mean, looking at their schedule, I mean, I think even if you go 3-3, I've compared the Lakers schedule to the Warriors schedule. Even if you go 3-3, I feel pretty confident the Lakers hold on to the ninth seed.
Yeah.
And that's, being probably more pessimistic if they went that route. I think they probably can go 4-2 on this, maybe 4-1 for the rest of the way. Or excuse me, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6. So I think we can go 4-2 the rest of the way. And if we do that, I still think we end up as the ninth seed. Again, not impossible. But I think if you want a real chance, you have to go 6-0, and the Kings lose probably. You're banking on the Kings to lose 2 of those games. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I think the most likely outcome is we go 4-2 and stay the ninth seed. We're 2 up. We're 2 up on the or 1 loss on the Warriors up.
Yes.
But they do have a tougher schedule remaining, so I feel pretty confident we'll finish above the Warriors.
If that's the case, that'll mean a home game for the first playing game against the Warriors. But again, we'll have to go out on the road just to get to the 8th seed in the Western Conference. So that will be a tall task. Again, with most of these teams, with their key players healthy, Phoenix, they do have the toughest schedule down the road, Stone, but they've been playing at a high level as far as their 2 key players, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Devin Booker has been going off for 50-point games left and right. Sacramento is the team that I think everybody's keeping an eye on because the Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter injuries. I don't think we'll catch them because, again, they just have to be 500 for the rest of the season and they'll keep their spot in 8th place. But still, if we're able to go ahead and meet up with them, I see them not being able to compete with the Lakers. But the matchup against Phoenix is the one that should concern a lot of people if Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are playing like they're playing now.
Yeah, if it's the Warriors and Kings that we play, then I feel decent that the Lakers can pull it out. And even and let's say we play the Wolves in the first round, then I feel good about getting to the second round. That's sort of where my optimism ends. But um, if we go against the Warriors and then Phoenix, uh, then I start really, you know, being concerned whether we make the playoffs or not because um, I think Phoenix is a pretty good team and they are starting to figure their defense out, which has been an issue for them. But they're starting to figure that out, and I think that's been sort of the catalyst. They've always, I mean, I don't think there's been any doubt since the season started that they can figure their offense out in some way or another and be able to put points on the board. But now their defense is clicking, and I think that's probably a concern for the Lakers. Not saying we couldn't win that, but it's definitely tougher if you have to face Phoenix instead of Sacramento because losing both Monk and Herter is a huge loss for that team because those are your 2 outlet wings that are super hot shooters for Fox, and you have to treat them as such on the perimeter, meaning you can't bring doubles in for Fox. And Fox is obviously going to have his way with one of D'Lo or Reeves with their defensive limitations and how quick Fox is. So now you're talking about a team that can't double. You eliminate that aspect away from them. And now this team can double because they're playing Davion Mitchell and Chris Duarte more and guys like that. So I think that systematically changes how you approach that Kings matchup and how you can scheme around it if we were to get them in the play-in.
Once again, the Lakers do win. Going away 128 to 111. Unfortunately, no nightcap for Joe Soro tonight. He will be on tomorrow with a 2-hour extravaganza for his nightcap tomorrow. So stay tuned for that right here on the Lakers Fast Break channel. It is Stone Hansen along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. The Lakers are now 43 and 33, still ninth place in the Western Conference. And I think that's what it comes down to, Stone, is I don't see any magical path to success like they did last year with the injuries to Memphis and the fact that they just have so much sheer size than what Golden State could bring last season. This season, Golden State has played them a little bit tougher, so it won't be a slouch game to say the least, but I think they can overcome Golden State. It's who they play up above. Hopefully, they'll have to play Sacramento in that second game because I think that's a better matchup for them, especially with the injuries. Your thoughts on how you could see a scenario where the Lakers could surprise both you and I and get really far in the playoff mix?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Warriors and Kings are the first two obstacles that you'd want. That's who you want to play if you're in the ninth position. You are able to face the Warriors, who still are considerably smaller. They play bigger than they tend to play bigger than what they are on paper, and the Lakers tend to play smaller than what they are on paper, at least in terms of rebounding. And so this team, if the Lakers can really lock in on the rebounding, I actually think we have a decent chance against the Warriors in that matchup. And then, like I said, to Sacramento, it fundamentally changes when you don't have Monk and Herter there. You now are able to double on guys like Fox, which you would need because you're playing 48 minutes of Reeves, Dinwiddie, or D'Lo, and you need that help when they're on Fox because he's just so much faster. So being able to double changes a lot. You no longer have a massive threat on the perimeter. I'm not saying obviously guys like Dorte and Davion. You never know. Maybe they have some spurt of 5 or 6 threes. You can't say that's impossible, but it's a far less likelihood than someone like Herter and Monk. So you're able to double. Obviously, Sabonis tends to have his way with AD. That would remain a concern, but it does change how you can guard Fox, and I think that makes a big difference. And then you get into the first round. I'm not going to harp on how I view OKC and how they match up with the Lakers. I've done it a few times already on this show, and then which the conclusion I came to is I would rather not face them in the first round. Denver, I don't think we can find a Lakers fan that wants to face him in the first round. And then Minnesota, I think to me is the most favorable seed that we can face in the first round and that we have the best chance against because they no longer have Cat, which is I don't think he'd be back by the first round, right? I think he would have to be back by like
I
the
think it's
second
second round, yeah,
Yeah.
unless something really changes. I was told our latest reports were second round.
Yeah. So you're facing them. That
Just
changes
like
a lot
Malik
too.
Monk. Just like Malik Monk. It would be a second round before you could see either him or Cat back.
Yeah, and that changes a lot too how you can play them now. Now you don't have to worry about sending an extra guy to the perimeter because you don't have a big that can be on the perimeter, and then if you fly out and close out too hard, someone that can go inside and then facilitate even as a secondary facilitator. So now you eliminate a secondary facilitator for a team that already is somewhat limited on ball movement and who can create on that team, or the amount of guys that can create on that team, and you are able to. I think AD would um, be a very good matchup against Gobert, even though Gobert's, pretty tough in the pick and roll. The Lakers don't tend to run a lot of that, and if AD is facing him in isolation, I think that's a pretty good matchup. But then you have LeBron, who I don't think anyone on the Wolves can defend him. McDaniels is their best perimeter defender, but he's so thin against someone like LeBron that I think LeBron would just continue to post him up, wait for them to bring secondary shade help, and then he would continue to distribute out to the perimeter. So there's a lot of things that now change without having Cat because he's not your secondary defender, he's not your secondary facilitator. And I think that the Wolves would be the most interesting matchup. And that's, to me, that's all the best case scenarios to lead to them getting to the second round. And I've tried Gerald, but I don't see how they get past the second round. I think they can get past, if everything goes right, the two playing games and the first round. I think those are definitely all on the table. And once you get to the second round, I don't see a scenario where it can get past that.
I do want to go ahead and mention that Darvin Ham in his post-game press conference said the availability of LeBron and AD tomorrow versus Washington, in all likelihood, I'm sure they'll play. I don't want to hold 100% to that. And of course, I'll give you the updates at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter. And then, of course, if I do a pregame, he did note it depends on how they feel tomorrow morning, but both players are right now, playing under 30 minutes obviously helped. That was the thing. That's why I was screaming on playback to sit them down to give them a better chance of being able to play tomorrow. You also get Gabe Vincent back, who's off the back-to-back. We don't know the status of Cam Reddish, who was out for personal reasons. I know that take it or leave it on Cam Reddish because he's not really returned to form since he had that really good November, and he's not ever played well since. But we don't know what's going on with his personal reasons and why he's currently off the Lakers roster right now. But we'll see if he comes back. Darvin Ham's mentioned that he would be more elaborate about it tomorrow. But LeBron James, it's a route when all this attention now is now turning to Bronny amid reports and as far as verified sources that Bronny James is going to go ahead and enter the transfer portal and leave USC. We earlier reported that USC coach Andy Einfeld has left for Southern Methodist University, so it looks like it's going to be a free-for-all stone. Your thoughts on Bronny hitting the transfer portal? Much better than hitting the NBA draft this summer. That's a much better move.
Well, I saw the report, but I don't have clarification. Is he entering the transfer portal? You can still enter the draft. It's not.
We can get a look. He could still, do the thing where you can get looks, evaluate his prospects, and then go back into the transfer portal. So he can literally get evaluated if he so chooses.
Yeah, so this isn't necessarily like he's not entering the draft. It's just if he were to remain in college, he'd be going there. But he definitely can go through the entire process. There's a certain withdrawal date they need. I don't know what it is this year, but there's a certain withdrawal date, and you can get feedback and have private workouts with teams and see if the feedback is good enough if you wanted to remain in the draft. So I imagine that would be the case with Bronny. I think that he probably would want to test the waters to see how it goes. I don't know. I mean, like I said during playback too, it's all just a massive guessing game in terms of when LeBron retires. Even like that, next year could be LeBron's final year, or 3 or 4 years from now could be LeBron's final year. We have zero clue, and so we also just have zero clue with what happened with Bronny and how much of a factor that is for LeBron. It might be the biggest factor in his evaluation of where he wants to continue his career. It might be insignificant. We don't really have a pulse on that, and we won't because we're not inside of his head. So it's all just a big guessing game. This doesn't really change anything until we get, to me, the clarification of, is he going to withdraw from the draft, or is he even going to enter the draft? And we don't know the answer to either of those two questions for now. So for now, it's just an added layer that I guess we can keep an eye on.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Stone Hansen along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. The Lakers do win 128-111. They're now 10 games above 500, 43-33. Still ninth place in the Western Conference, and with 6 games left, it's looking a little bit more and more like the Lakers are going to fortify that ninth place position. But a win tomorrow in Washington will go ahead and solidify that. And right now, all signs are pointing to LeBron and AD playing in that game tomorrow. So we'll wait and see. But I wanted to ask you this. Jackson Hayes had probably one of the most impressive in-game dunks I've seen in a while, putting it between his legs and and taking it down for the slam, which is great and all. We talked about how efficient he is rolling to the basket and found him good there. But I always talk about this on Playback Stone and talked about it on this post game and other shows, how Jackson Hayes is a 6'11", 7-foot rim protector who can't protect the rim very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like Jackson Hayes to me as a third string center. Like I've said, you have him in
Agreed.
pinch situations where you have an off night, or someone is in foul trouble or someone's sick, and then you play him as a backup or things like that. But on a regular basis, I'd prefer him to remain more on the bench and more as a pinch center and as a third string guy. And I think that his plus is that, like I've said before, basketball is all about space, how much you can create, how much you can mitigate. He creates a lot of space through verticality. Basketball isn't necessarily on a 2D plane. You can have basketball go up and down as well vertically, and Jackson provides it on that aspect offensively. But he is very limited, right? I mean, that's what he brings offensively is how he can finish pick and rolls. He's not going to be shooting. He's not going to be facilitating, even though I think he's underrated as a passer out of double teams. And then defensively, he gets annihilated in the pick and roll. The issue with Jackson Hayes is he's a good help side rim protector, but in order for him to be a help side rim protector, that means you need to have a primary rim protector. For us, that is AD. And then you run into the issue of now you have two non-floor spacers on the court at the same time, or you deal with Jackson Hayes defensively, just crushing you on the defensive end and getting wrecked as the primary rim protector. So either he's the help guy and he's playing to his strength defensively, but then you cramp the court in the space offensively, or he's getting roasted defensively, but you have a more free flowing offense. So you have to pick and choose what you need and when you need it. And that is the catch-22 as far as Jackson Hayes goes.
Before we talk about Rajon Rondo and his announced retirement that he did on the Up and Smoke podcast of all places, because he's currently fighting charges on drug paraphernalia himself in Indiana, as we talked about on Playback. Heavy Duty is asking, does Vando, when he come back, because rumors, Jovan Buha's putting out there he might be available as early as next week to get back in the rotation. He might, that's whatnot. Before the end of the season, that's a great possibility because it is getting closer to the end of the season. And if he's going to get closer and be available by the end of the season, he better be available very soon. If that's the case, does he go into the starting lineup like last year, Stone? I mean, this starting lineup with Rui, Austin, D'Lo, LeBron, and AD is now 14-6 on the season. And it seems to be a starting lineup that's gelling very well. But we've talked about the problems and issues with the bench and whether or not you would throw Reeves or Rui back into the mix as far as that's concerned. Your thoughts on if Vando, when he comes back or if he comes back, should be put into the starting lineup at some point in time?
No, absolutely not, and I don't think he will be. I would be very doubtful that he is, and I think that would be the right call is not to put him in the starting lineup.
I mean, you're messing with 14-6,
and you're messing with 14-6, and the reason they're 14-6 is because Rui gives you a lot more spacing than Vando ever can, and the defense, as great as it is, you need to be able to provide things on both ends of the court with who you have, because you have two guys or really three guys. I mean, LeBron occasionally, but for the most part, right? LeBron, Reeves, and D'Lo are not going to be giving a whole lot to you production wise. They might give effort, but production wise, a lot defensively on a night to night basis. I think Rui has his deficiencies defensively, but it's not totally all bad with him. I think he does have a great verticality defensively. He's a good help defender both at the rim and on the perimeter. So I think there's ways to use him and hide that. And I think that offensively he gives you an added punch. And if you're going to run with a 5-man starting unit that does not have the best defense, I think the best way to counter that is someone that gives you the best of both worlds in terms of what you have. Vando gives you one side of the court, which is defensively. Then now you're running a lot of guys with only one-sided play, and then you obviously other wings like Prince and Reddish who have their deficiencies on either end of the court. So I think keeping Rui is the best way to go. I think Vando is a positive to have back for any sort of playoff play and run, because that means you no longer have to play one of Vincent or Dinwiddie. I think that's the way it would work, because we went through saying that it would be Dinwiddie, uh, Dinwiddie, Hayes, Prince, and then one of Christie and Vincent, right? That's probably who they go with in a playoff rotation. When you have Vando there, it means you no longer have to play that Christie or Dinwiddie question mark. And then I think you can run with 3 guards and run bigger. And then obviously, the other big thing now is this unlocks something for you with a backup center that we were talking about with Hayes too, because as I was just explaining, Hayes is not able to be a primary rim protector. Vando is better at it. He's not great, but he's a lot better at it and isn't going to get cooked in the pick and roll as often. And it allows you to play Hayes as a help defender, and you can still put Vando in the corner at the 3. It's not going to be super efficient. You're going to have 2 guys that are limited offensively, but now it gives you a way to play Hayes more effectively. And I think it also allows you to pull out someone like Christie or Dinwiddie, who are going to have troubles, I think, on both ends in a play-in or playoff situation. Not having to play them minutes, I think, would be a bonus, an addition by subtraction, if you will. So Vando would be a big asset, but not big enough to insert in the starting 5, in my opinion.
Once again, it is the Lakers winning tonight, 128-111 over the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors have now lost 14 in a row. The Lakers move to 43-33. Tomorrow night, they face the Washington Wizards, who did win tonight. So I got to add one more win on their schedule. 15 wins for them tonight over Milwaukee, Stone. So you have the Lakers heading into Washington tomorrow. Still feel any nervousness about the Lakers tomorrow? Do you think that half the trap that Jamie Sweet laid out might come true?
I feel pretty confident that we'll win. And a lot of it's based upon what we saw tonight. It looks like this Lakers team is, and I didn't watch the game in Boston, but I watched, the quick few minute breakdown or whatever, and it was a pretty wire to wire game of the Lakers leading the charge the whole way. So it looks like the Lakers have the mindset of let's take care of business, let's win the games that we need to, in the manner and fashion in which we should. And I think that's probably how they'll approach the Wizards game as well. And I think that this fluke games happen all the time. Good teams are going to lose to bad teams. It's part of the NBA. It's not unprecedented by any means. So it might be surprising that the Bucks lost to the Wizards, but it's by no means going to be impossible as long as the NBA exists. So it doesn't sound any alarms or sirens for me. I think the Lakers can still pull that out, and I think they only need one of AD or LeBron to do it. So even if both don't play, as long as we have one, I still feel really confident that we'll beat the Wizards.
Before we head on out, I want to go ahead and thank Rajon Rondo for his contributions to the 2020 World Championship team. He announced his retirement, again, like in the Up and Smoke podcast. All podcasts you would go ahead and announce your retirement on. I wish you would have done it on this one, the Lakers Fast Break, but Rajon Rondo, Stone, obviously a key integral part of that 2020 World Championship run. If he gets everything sorted out legally wise, and as we were talking about with you, Laker Nick, big shout out to Laker Nick and Joe Soro on playback. again, the back and forth. I still think, even though he may not have the temperament for it, I still think he can become a good coach, assistant coach, or head coach in the league if allowed the opportunity.
Yeah. To me, I mean, Rondo's my favorite player of all time, which is probably
Really?
not a common thing for people to say. I just love players who think the game, and to me, no other player has encapsulated that better than Rondo. I think when he goes out on the court, he's thinking it more than he is physically creating it, if that makes sense. He's thinking about how he's going to win it like a game of chess rather than how he's going to win due to physical advantages and abilities that he can create. So I really appreciate guys like that, and I think Rondo is someone that did that throughout his career, and I really respect and like that. I don't know if he'll ever be a coach. I kind of somewhat doubt it with his recent activities, which he's my favorite player of all time. I don't necessarily condone
I mean,
everything he's
Jason
done.
Kidd is still on the sidelines.
Yeah, I don't condone everything he's done off the court. And I don't know the guy personally. Maybe Rondo has a better temperament than he's let on the court. But I think he's a great basketball mind, and that's I think what has fueled and been the catalyst of his successful career. And I think that um, if he were to be in any sort of coaching or even front office type role, I think that team would benefit from it. And I think that's probably in my opinion, maybe his best route post playing days is maybe he goes to a front office role, and I think that might be uh, a good way for him to get involved with the game post retirement. But whatever he decides to do is how it works and how it pans out. But I think he had a great career, and I think he's, in my opinion, the best thinker the NBA has seen. So I enjoyed watching him a ton, and it was a lot of fun watching him on the Lakers. I even got his Lakers Rondo jersey, which I probably am the only person on planet Earth that owns that. But it was a lot of fun to see my favorite player on my favorite team.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Stone Hansen along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again so much for watching, listening. No nightcap tonight, but a 2-hour extravaganza for the nightcap tomorrow, as Joe Soros promised, if you watched the playback, that he would give his audience double Joe tomorrow night on the nightcap.
I actually heard 4 hours on that.
Whoa! No, he said two. He said two. Don't get Joe. Joe likes you, Stone. Stay on his good side. He hates me, but he likes you. So stay on his good side indeed. But great game tonight for D'Angelo Russell. 7 threes, 25 points, 7 assists. LeBron James, 10 of 12. He was just cruising through tonight's game. 23, 9 assists. Anthony Davis, 21 and 12. Again, the Lakers go 128 to 111. Big victory for the Lakers. Tomorrow, we'll be back again on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. The simulcast on Facebook and YouTube of the scoreboard and chat. No game feeds here, but we do give you the great scoreboard and chat from the Lakers Fast Break on playback. You stopping by again tomorrow, my friend?
I should be able to. We'll see. I plan to be there. It's more weather dependent than anything. We have a big lightning storm, and I'm on tornado watch currently. So if my internet and Wi-Fi is still up, I will be there tomorrow as I plan. Yeah, and hopefully everyone can join Joe for his breakfast and lunch caps as well.
Blue Magic, I think, is trying to Jedi will this. Yes, Joe will do a breakfast. Joe will do a lunch. Joe will do a nightcap. He's only said the nightcap, Blue. So come on, Blue. The guy hasn't got a business he's got to run. It's simply with a y.com. But you be safe, Stone. Hoping your house doesn't blow away like Dorothy and Toto and the Wizard of Oz. So let's hope it stays on the ground, and let's hope you are available tomorrow and safe. And if you are available with us tomorrow, that means you are. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting you back on and having everybody be pissed off when you tell them the reality of what the Lakers are instead of what the Lakers you hope to be. But yeah, hope is great. If you guys are realistic, if you're not realistic, you guys are hopeful, by all means, just make sure you tune on to us. We give you the skinny on exactly what the Lakers are doing here at the Lakers Fast Break. But Stone, any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
Nope, not really. I think thanks for having me on again. I enjoy being on, and I'll enjoy it tomorrow, hopefully. I do appreciate being able to come on and share my opinions. And people that don't agree, I still enjoy listening to your opinions as well, even if they don't line up to mine. And I think it's going to be a fun rest of the season. I'm excited to see how the seeding plays out, because whether or not the Lakers stay in ninth, which is probably the most likely, I'm excited to see who everyone in both conferences ends up having to play. I think it's going to come down to the very final night of the regular season, so it'll be a good way to close out the year.
As what Blue Magic said, Stone is a legend indeed. So once again, it is Stone Hansen. Big shout out again to Laker Nick and Joe Soro on our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break live coverage. Looking forward to tomorrow's game in Washington as the Lakers, hopefully with LeBron and AD. We'll see what happens. Cool bro, again, I'm an Angels fan, but sorry. When Vegas only predicts them to win 72 games, come on, please, cool bro. Temper your enthusiasm. It's game 5 of 162. 162 they play in baseball. So cool bro, when I'm right, you'll just have to thank me. And there you go. Just like everybody has to thank Stone, hopefully. You know what, Stone? We want them, the Lakers, to prove us wrong and be able to go all the way. I would like nothing more than to prove us wrong.
I'd rather the people that believe the Lakers can win a championship and contend be right and me be wrong. As you see my power already start to flicker, I'd rather see them be right and the Lakers win and I look like an idiot than me be right.
Same here. If it means the Lakers winning a championship, that's the first and foremost thing. Well, I got to get Stone out of here because I got to make sure he stays safe and hopefully he doesn't get hit by a tornado. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Stone Hansen. Hopefully he will be available and alive tomorrow to go ahead and join us. And hopefully he won't get swept away by any tornadoes. But we also hope everybody stays safe and doesn't get hit by any tornadoes as well. So please join us tomorrow. No nightcap tonight, but there will be a 2-hour nightcap after our post game and also our during the game of playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Who knows? I may even do a pregame. You'll find out this time tomorrow right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Have a great evening, everyone, and stay safe.